Just pathetic losers, man. Just pathetic losers.
Our democracy. What is terribly important is that we pass the voting rights bill we have been discussing for a number of months now.
It's ridiculous. I made a copy of this by hand. We should have it printed.
We could get help from other groups in the liberal movement.
No. Don't trust the liberals. They will betray you.
Then I'll ask Lydia. Help from other groups in the liberal movement.
No. Don't trust the liberals. They will betray you.
Help from other groups in the liberal movement.
No. Don't trust the liberals. They will betray you.
To say that states all over this country cannot deny people the right to vote. You know, Trump has propagated this big lie, and a lot of governors and legislators.
It is Patrick Stewart.
And are really now trying very hard to suppress the vote, go forward with extreme gerrymandering, and we're going to need 50 votes to do that. And if Manchin does not want it for a number of months now, to say that states all over this country cannot deny people the right to vote. You know, Trump has propagated this big lie, and a lot of governors and legislators have picked it up and are really now trying very hard to suppress the vote, go forward with extreme gerrymandering, and we're going to need 50 votes to do that. And if Manchin does not want to do that, then what he's really saying to the American people, that's okay. Democracy and the preservation of the foundations of American democracy, right of one person, one vote, that's not very important. I don't know where he's coming from on that, but that would be a tragedy as well.
NoLabels.org. Senator Joe Manchin put country before party by rejecting the one-party Build Back Better package. Democrats and Republicans need to come together to find two-party solutions to the nation's pressing issues. That's one of the groups. Yeah, that's one of those groups. Progressives' biggest fear about the Build Back Better Act has come to pass. There's a reason they wanted the social debt spending bill tied to infrastructure. No shit. For members of the squad, a group of staunch progressives in the House, Senator Joe Manchin's statements opposing the Build Back Better Act didn't come as a surprise. They've long warned it was just a matter of time before Manchin derailed the bill if a vote on infrastructure legislation which he supported was held first. It turns out they were right. Manchin has previously voiced a variety of concerns about the massive climate and social spending goals and repeatedly demanded it be trimmed down. In an attempt to pressure the moderate senator to support the measure, progressives lobbied Democratic leaders to keep it linked to a vote on the massive infrastructure package known as the Bipartisan Infrastructure Framework, as that latter bill was seen as a priority for Manchin. I want to say this. From the very beginning, they linked it. That was Biden's plan. That was Nancy Pelosi, master legislator's plan. Oh, we'll do two separate bills so we can get some Republican votes on this bill. That was their plan. The progressive plan was to say, fuck Republican votes. We're going to do one bill. We'll pass it in reconciliation. If they want to vote against infrastructure, let them vote against it. And they wanted to do one big bill. That was always the progressive plan. I don't know what the fuck they're talking about with the progressives wanting to link the shit. That was their fucking dumbass plan. The bills were coupled for months, but were eventually separated due to pressure from House moderates and assurance from President Joe Biden that he'd secure a yes vote from Manchin on the Build Back Better Act. Most House progressives voted in favor of the bipartisan infrastructure framework in the end. The 6 House members in the squad were the only ones within the Congressional Progressive Caucus who voted against it. At the time, they reiterated fears that passing the infrastructure bill first would give up any leverage they had to pressure moderate lawmakers like Manchin to consider the Build Back Better Act. Just a month after that vote, Manchin has told Fox News he's a no on Build Back Better. I mean, like, what can you even say to this, chat? Hey, Stable Horse, thank you for the 28 months. What can you fucking say to this? Joe Biden is a liar or a loser? Which one is it? He's either, and that's the fact, either Joe Biden is a pathetic fucking loser or he's a mendacious liar. Either way, he can never be trusted. I think he may be the weakest president we've ever seen. Who is a weaker president than Joe Biden? Who's had less cultural relevance than Joe Biden? In my lifetime, he's the worst. Jimmy Carter's before my time. He's by far the worst president we've ever had. As far as not in his policies, as far as like projecting himself and advocating for things. He's James Buchanan. Yeah, he's fucking terrible, man. We've been saying for weeks this would happen. Squad member Rep. Cori Bush said in an MSNBC interview on Sunday. Let's watch that. Let's watch that. I have this.
Presley was among the Democrats expressing outrage this morning after her fellow Democrat, West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin, announced that he will not vote for the Build Back Better Act, effectively killing the legislation.
Trump is going to win by FDR level type levels. God,
joining me now for more reaction, Congresswoman Cori Bush, Democrat from Missouri. Congresswoman Bush, thank you very much.
Joe Biden is fully aware of the consequences of his actions.
Your reaction to the news announced by Senator Manchin.
That's why we're so opposed to him.
So, first of all, it is not a huge surprise. We have been, and let me be clear, there are 6 of us who have been saying this all along. Representative Ocasio-Cortez, Representative Presley, Representative Tlaib, Representative Bowman, Representative Omar, and myself. We have been saying this for weeks that this would happen, and we took the hits. We were told that we were anti our caucus, we were anti-democracy, we were anti-this and that, when actually what we were and what we still are is pro the people, because the people have to be first. The people have to win. And so when I think about this no, this was a no all along. And so what we had was a bit of leverage, which was having the coupling of the 2 bills, the BIF, the infrastructure package, as well as the Build Back Better Act. Having those coupled together was the only leverage we had. And what did the caucus do? We tossed it, and for me, it's really, it's sad. It's sad for us to say, let's look good instead of being good. Let's look strong instead of being strong. Let's look like we have a win instead of actually having a win. You know what makes us look good? What being good. So if we're actually good, that means St. Louis has what St. Louis needs. That means that St. Louis is strong. That's how I qualify that. By St. Louis having an actual win by those people. So we're talking about the home care workers, the doulas, those caregivers, child care workers and providers, those formerly incarcerated people. We're talking about people who work in our substance use treatment programs. All of those people. We're talking about them having the resources they need. What about our parents who've lost loved ones, our family members who've lost loved ones to gun violence, making sure that they have what they need. This is the problem, and this is what we said. And so let me say this. St. Louis, I didn't forget about you. I fight for you the same way in Congress that you have to fight trying to survive in this society.
Congresswoman Bush, I hear everything that you're saying, and I don't deny anything that you're saying. What do you say to folks who are watching, and maybe even some among your constituents in St. Louis who might say, well, what about the bipartisan infrastructure law? Why shouldn't that be considered a win, not just for the Democratic caucus or for the country, but for St. Louis?
Because our work was for the full Biden agenda, because that's the people's agenda. This was not us coming against the infrastructure deal at all. We weren't coming against that, even though people who look like me, There weren't black and brown people sitting at that table to put together this deal. But beyond that, making sure that this was about all the people, that we could affect the most people in this country, because right now we have the House, the Senate, and the White House. So we need to get the most done for the people that we can. So what we said was have both. We have one bill that is for the infrastructure, making sure that our people are being taken care of, making sure that our roads and our bridges, we're taking care of our unions and all of that stuff. Great. But then there are a whole group of other people that we are leaving out, and it's not our work to leave them out. So what will we do? We'll make sure that those care workers get what they need. We'll make sure that 130,000 children that were eligible for child tax credit, to make sure in Missouri alone, or in my district alone, we're able to keep that. Making sure that 500,000 Missouri children would have access to free lunches in the summer. 130,000 Missouri children being added to free school lunches. That was important to us. For our people living with diabetes, capping insulin at $35 is life-saving. So that's what it was about. Why do we keep thinking that, oh, we're doing great work for the people? If we toss them a little bit, but we leave all of these other people hanging. My work was to come here and make sure that we do the absolute most for all of the people in Missouri's first district, starting with those who have the least. And I won't turn my back on that because other people say that it's a better way because it's more convenient.
Congresswoman, we've got 30 seconds left. Senator Padilla from California was on at the top of the hour. He also said this isn't over. That this isn't dead yet. How much hope do you have that, at least in the first 3 months of 2022, that Build Back Better can be negotiated and passed and become law?
When I leave this interview, I'm going to the interwebs, and I'm going to be looking for the phone number to the Ghost of Christmas, past, present, and future, or the email address to see if they can go and see about Scrooge on Christmas Eve. I'm sorry, not Scrooge. Senator Matt.
I know what you're talking about.
Supernatural intervention, Chad. That's what we need, Chad. We need supernatural intervention. That's where we're at.
Congresswoman, but
Bush's stance was echoed by other squad members like Rep. Ayanna Pressley, and now it's clear that progressives were correct to be worried. Although it's uncertain how open Manchin might be to a different version of the Build Back Better Act, his position has effectively doomed the current version. Democrats are attempting to pass Build Back Better via a process known as budget reconciliation, which allows legislation to pass the Senate with a simple majority. You need all 50 members of the Senate Democratic Caucus on board to approve it, a fragile unity that's impossible to achieve without Manchin's vote. The fact that has given Manchin, the bill's largest detractor in the Senate, a lot of say over its fate. Over the past few months, he's shown he's more than willing to make full use of that influence. He did so again Sunday, shaking with little faith many progressives had left in him. Maybe they'll believe us next time, or maybe people will just keep calling us naive. When a handful of us in the House warned this would happen if Dem leaders gave Manchin everything he wanted, first by moving BIF before BBB instead of passing together, many ridicule our position. Maybe they'll believe us next time, or maybe they'll keep calling us naive. Either way, we cannot accept no for an answer. Our Dem leadership, including but not limited to the president himself and House Dem leadership, wrote a massive check on their credibility the night of the BIF vote in order to secure the votes they needed, promising passage of Build Back Better. To every member who brought up Manchin, they permanently promised they had a solution that BBB would pass. It is simply not an option for Dem leaders to walk from BBB, voting rights, etc. They must find a way, just as they promised that they would when we raised this inevitability. Some of us didn't have the luxury of giving up. We serve as working, middle class, and poor people. We serve everyday workers getting ripped off, and immigrants and Black communities and queer kids needing shelter. We will not walk away from them, and leadership can't walk away from them either. People can be mad at Manchin all they want, but we knew he would do this months ago. where we needed answers from are from the leaders who promised a path on Build Back Better if BIF passed. Biden and Dem leaders. They chose to move BIF alone instead of with Build Back Better, not Manchin. So they need to fix it. We, as always, are here to fight for this agenda. What matters most to us is that things get done. But it cannot just shrug our shoulders and accept this as some Charlie Brown moment. Our entire democracy is on the line. So we need to get back in there and get this shit done, period. For months, the Congressional Progressive Caucus emphasized that it wouldn't move along the bipartisan infrastructure bill without a concurrent vote. I mean, it's like so obvious, dude. It's so fucking pathetic, man.
All morning long. We've been gauging the reaction and analyzing this all morning long. Let's turn now to Democratic Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez of New York. Thank you so much.
Yeah, they're not passing anything.
Congresswoman, thanks for being with us. Last time we talked, we discussed how patient progressives had been throughout this entire process.
All right, hold on. Before we watch the AOC part, let's watch with Senator Joe Manchin. It's never over, and let's watch the libs. Now, this is the purpose of this segment. Before we watch it, the purpose of this segment, everybody, is to insulate Senator Manchin from being hated by the base. The goal of this is to have him destroy the Democratic platform. At the same time, the main Democratic network is going to protect him from that reality. Instead of going out there and saying Joe Manchin is bad, they're going to make excuses for him. They're going to give cover for him so he doesn't take the hit. This is manufacturing consent in its purest, most corrupt form.
Months of negotiations, Senator Joe Manchin, the linchpin in the 50-50 Senate, said he will not support President Biden's Build Back Better plan, effectively killing the $2 trillion social spending proposal in its current form. In an interview on Fox News Sunday, the West Virginia Democrat cited the debt, inflation, and COVID as reasons why he is opposed.
I've always said this, Brett. If I can't go home and explain it to the people of West Virginia, I can't vote for it. And I cannot vote to continue with this piece of legislation. It's
can't. Also to cover Morning Joe's ass since they've been caping for him so hard. Don't worry, you can just make a new deal with them. Exactly. I only watch you at TYT, and you both called this months ago. Are you guys vetting websites for politics? Yeah, there are. They're also going to do all this to focus on Manchin to avoid attention on other scum like cinema. Exactly.
I've tried everything humanly possible. I can't get there.
You're done. This is a no.
This is a no on this legislation. I have tried everything I know to do.
The president put out a statement Friday saying that you still supported $1.7 trillion. He said you needed more time to finalize negotiations. And reporters asked you about that, and you said the president put out that statement. It's his statement, not mine. So now what you're saying today makes a lot